Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 36 of the Overnight Feeds recaps for Big Brother Season 24. And welcome to Cliff Notes. A good Thursday to y'all, a good eviction day to y'all. Yeah, we've got the eviction taking place tonight. We're going to get a brand new HOH as well. I think the target's more or less set for tonight, but may get a little tougher going forward. All right, so first of all, just as a bit of a refresher before we do get into the feeds themselves, as I mentioned, it is eviction night. All signs point to Daniel going home. No, even Daniel's not, Jasmine, Terrence, no one's really pitching at this point in time. It's a foregone conclusion that Daniel will be at the door. Kyle's going to be safe for now. Everyone else from this point forward, it's going to be jury members. Daniel is our last post, our pre-jury boot. So you're looking at our jury and our final two with the rest of the people in the house. What do you think about that? I'm curious to see what kind of jury this season could be. All right, we've got, in addition to moving on to the next stage of the game, we also are going to hear, I think, tonight that the Festy Bestie twist is ending. We got a little teaser from it on the episode last night. So yeah, Festy Besties is over, which I want to hear. I want everyone playing individually at this point in time. There could be another twist that comes right in behind that, but the Festy Bestie part's ending, which makes it tough because there were a lot of conversations that took place last night that were hinging on if Festy Bestie still sticks around. What are we going to do? Who's Kyle going to join and all that? I kind of left those out because at this point, it doesn't really have as much relevance, but Festy Besties will be ending. And tonight's HOH competition, one of the most iconic of all competitions, it's the wall competition. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have 11 people up on that wall, and we'll see who actually has the has what it takes to stick it out to the very end, and who are the first couple to drop. I'm really curious to see if we get have-nots come back, if the first couple of people who fall off become automatic have-nots. I have no reason to know that that's the case. I kind of hope it is, though. I'd like to see that. All right, with all that being said, let's pick up the live feeds at the end of the East Coast episode broadcast. There were a lot of discussions last night. Even though the target is settled for tonight, everyone's plotting, planning going forward. There's games afoot. There's subterfuge, the word of the day, right? A lot of people playing a lot of games right now. So let's talk about the live feeds. First of all, not really game related, but we got a big chess game. I thought it was a chess game going on, but it turns out it's a little bit of a tournament that's going on as we go back to the feeds after the East Coast broadcast episode last night. Speaking of, what did y'all think about OTEF? That I give it to Terrence. Terrence said he threw the that competition. I don't know if he would have won it or not, but he did pretty good. Props out to the older guy in the house for doing good on OTEV. I did enjoy seeing that. All right, let's get back to the live feeds. Chess game going on in the kitchen or the dining room area between Kyle and Turner. A lot of the house is watching. Eventually, Kyle wins that event. Turns out there are a few different games that took place throughout the evening. You got to be careful with that game of chess in there. Chinese checkers, things like that. People don't take it too seriously. But you start playing chess, and there's people that start watching and analyzing and seeing just how smart maybe you really are and how well, if you play that game well, they start getting a little more suspicious about how you play the game of Big Brother as well. I mean, no matter what you do in that house, someone is always watching, chess games in particular. But we do have that going on. While they've got that going on in the living room area, we've got Jasmine and Indy and Alyssa and Brittany all sitting around talking. Eventually, Jasmine starts doing Indy's nails. The two takeaways I saw from that, one is Brittany's in there hanging out with them, pretending like they're best friends at this point in time. So she's kind of playing her role. The other thing is that Daniel was also in there sitting on one of the other couches in the living room, looking very alone at this moment. Now, he still had some conversations with Terrence, but it was very much in the form of, I've enjoyed it, good luck going forward, things like that. Daniel knows his fate, knows what's going on. Daniel's looking like it's sitting on that couch. Just very, very lonely looking. All right. We do have a little bit of humor going on. Joseph is patrolling. Brittany's helping as well. Patrolling with a fly swatter. Apparently, Big Brother gave him a couple of fly swatters. At one point, I look up and Brittany's walking into the storage room or dining room with a fly swatter stuck in a back pocket on. I don't remember us ever having fly issues during my season in the house, but we also didn't have the ant issue the way this season does. So maybe they left the back door open a little longer than they should have. Maybe they've left some food out. So whatever, but flies and ants are both definitely in play in the house. So we'll see which alliance wins out, the flies versus the ants. They may be the best players in the house. I'm not gonna say that because there's some good players going on right now, but they do have some flies going on. All right, we get along. I'll call it a soliloquy because it very much is just a one-on-one with the cameras. Taylor up in the HOH room, talking to the cams, and she's saying that she really wishes that she didn't have to hang out with the other side of the house at all right now, because she's just a little upset. She's a little disgusted that they are hanging around, that some of them have been supporting Daniel, trying to keep him in the house this week, even knowing the way he raised his voice to her, some of the bullying that took place, things like that. So she's just expressing a lot of disappointment that there's people not giving her enough support at this point in time. And so she's feeling like she doesn't even want to hang around with those people. She mentioned several times, I'm tired of being fake. I'm tired of having to hang around to folks and kiss up to folks that I just have no respect for at this point in time. She actually at one point even says that she's really upset with the entire house for not immediately ostracizing and evicting Daniel as soon as they could after some of the stuff he did. I get the desire completely. I guess I understand exactly what she's saying, but people are in this house to play the game. Unfortunately, sometimes strategy interferes with your personal feelings, with your ethics, everything else. In the real world, that should never be the case. In the game of Big Brother, where it's built around backstabbing, lying, betrayals, things like that, sometimes, even if someone wants to do something that they think is proper, gameplay interferes with it. And I think some of that took place. Not all. There are some people that are just purely emotional. But I think for some people, gameplay could have come into play. But she thinks they should have gotten him out immediately. Now, keep this in mind. At one point, even Taylor herself was considering whether keeping Daniel would be better for her game as opposed to sending him out earlier. She said, well, personally, I'd like to send him out from a gameplay standpoint. Maybe I'm better off keeping him in the jury. Taylor's not the only one that's had to weigh those options. There's other people that did as well. But she's feeling bad that she's not getting more support when it comes to her versus Daniel. And I do understand that. All right. She says that she knows that she is isolating by staying alone, but she just can't fake it anymore. She is also upset that Indy keeps trying to interfere with her time with Joseph. We know Indy likes Joseph, right? And so now to see Joseph and Taylor in there kind of could be fake. Maybe it'll turn into something more type showmance, fomance, we'll call it, right? Because Indy's seeing that, she's apparently, according to Taylor, Indy's really coming up and trying to take as much time away from Joseph as she can to keep Joseph away from Taylor. So she's a little bit upset about that. All right, I'll just say this real quick. Taylor was treated horribly the first part. Sometimes someone gets targeted because other people is doing it to protect their game and all that. But at this point in time, I think you got to move on. I think you've got to look at who you've got playing on your team at this point in time, who you feel like you can support in your alliance, and focus on going forward and not so much lamenting what happened in the past. Easy for me to say, but just I'll throw that out there. All right. One thing that Taylor does mention from a gameplay standpoint, she mentions that she's going to tell Terrence that she wants Monty gone next week. Not true. No, she's just saying it from a gameplay standpoint. But also there's some jury management going on as well, because she also mentions that she wants Terrence gone. That would probably be her primary target because she's really disappointed in him that he hadn't supported her. So she wants him gone if she's HOH, but she also is very worried about jury management. If she sends him out, others in the house, Jasmine, Indy, etc., would be very upset with her as well. So she's thinking about the repercussions of what she does if she wins HOH. All right, we've got Daniel and Terrence in the talking about tomorrow. Daniel's mentioning that he really hopes that he wants some kind of special power that saves him last minute. Not going to happen. Or he's really hoping that there could be a battle back tomorrow night, that he could come right back into the house. Also not going to happen. But he doesn't know that yet. He'll find out later this evening. All right, we've got Indy and Jasmine and Brittany talking. Jasmine's wondering if maybe if Festy Besties was to end tonight, would Taylor be willing to join in with the girls and become part of their team? No, no, it's too late for that. It's not going to happen, Jasmine. But and Brittany says the same thing. Says, I'm not sure that's really going to happen or not. But having said that, we do see later Taylor hanging around with the girls. So she certainly wants to give the impression that she's willing to work with them. And they talk about showmance. We'll get into it. So Taylor's letting it be seen that maybe she'd be willing to consider that. But no, it's not going to happen. She's ready to see them gone out the door. Jasmine at one point asked Brittany, if Brittany was HOH, who would she put up as targets? And Brittany, doing the company line that everyone on the leftovers agreed to, she says, well, I'd probably go for Monty, just because Michael didn't do what y'all talk about keeping noms the same this week. Doesn't mean that we still don't see the threat of Monty, that we still don't want Monty gone. So yeah, I'd probably go after Monty. No, but that's what she's telling that side. Jasmine herself is very non-committal about who she would put up. She just says, no girls going up. We got to get girls to the final two, so I'm not putting up any girls. It's going to be some of those guys over there. All right, we do have Jasmine wanting Brittany to talk to the others. I think Turner and Monty, I can't remember, talk to the other side and figure out what information she could come up with just to see what's going on. And Indy, there's talk about Monty, and are there going to be repercussions that so many of them were wanting Monty backdoored? He wouldn't be backdoored because he's already on the block, but wanting Monty out the door last week. Indy says she doesn't even think Monty knows. Says she's pretty certain that Monty doesn't realize that this other little plan was in play that just didn't work out. So she doesn't think that's going to be a huge issue. All right, we've got Taylor and Joseph and Michael in the HOH room. Michael's going to this whole little play going on with Taylor, Joseph. A showmance, is it not a showmance? Here's what's going on. I do think there's some attraction between Taylor and Joseph, and I think there's a possibility it could turn into something more later. But they have made the decision that they're going to make it look like there's at least a potential for a showmance to give them time to hang out and talk to each other and share game information without anyone getting too suspicious. So that's the basis of how this started. But now they're ramping up this little illusion a whole lot more. At one point, Taylor and Joseph are up in the HOH room. Michael's up there as well. Michael is planning to leave the HOH room and make sure that Alyssa, who is out in the bumper pool area with Kyle, make sure Alyssa sees Joseph and Taylor together on the bed and knows that they're in there alone. So Michael walks outside, and then the whole idea on this is just that they want to push the showmance even harder for several reasons that we'll talk about. So eventually, Michael does that, but eventually Joseph tells Alyssa and Kyle, he's out there in the bumper pool room talking to him, saying, yeah, Taylor really wants a showmance. I'm kind of into it, I guess. I'd be okay with it. I'm worried about my game and all, but yeah, we're kind of, that may be kind of where we're at. But he does tell him, and this is where this is all coming from. Joseph says, Taylor did talk game to me. That's the advantage. As long as I'm kind of doing this little showmance with her, she's giving me information, so I know what's going on in her head. Well, this is said for Alyssa's benefit. So Alyssa hopefully will go down and tell the other girls. They think they've got an in to figure out what Taylor's got going on. What a plan. How many levels of plotting are we talking about here with this fomance going on? All right, we've got Joseph now talking about the showmance to Jasmine. He's telling her the same thing, saying, yeah, Taylor and I guess we are in a showmance at this point. And he tells her the same thing, that Taylor talked game with him. And Jasmine's coming back saying, yeah, I really thought you and Indy were going to be the showmance instead. And Joseph saying, yeah, but no, it's all about character and all our personalities and all that. It just kind of worked out. So Joseph saying that. Joseph also spends a lot of time talking to Jasmine, talking about how distant he is from Monty, that, yeah, they're kind of bros when it comes to working out and some of that, but Monty just doesn't give him information, just says we're going to do this or that, but really doesn't go into strategy planning or anything. He's trying to keep the two of them looking as distant as possible, because Joseph still wants to be seen as just kind of a coaster who really doesn't know what's going on, a free agent. Let's use that word. All right, we've got Taylor now talking to Indy, Alyssa, and Brittany in the Jetsons' bedroom. Remember, I said Taylor's trying to at least make it look like she's a little tighter with the ladies and all of that. She's talking about the fact that Joseph came into the HOH room when she was alone and started doing push-ups. And Taylor said, oh, I'd love to have some alone time with you. Wink, wink, wink. And so she's very much playing up the showmance part at this point. Now, Taylor needs to be careful. I understand that they want to do the fake showmance and all that, but we also know that Indy and Jasmine really like Joseph. And so does Taylor talking about showmance, does that make her more of a target because of jealousy reasons in Indy and Jasmine's eyes? Is it going to make that? It's not as though they aren't already to boot her out the door. Maybe that's what she's thinking. I got to feel like there's a little part of Taylor that's just enjoying rubbing it in their faces a little bit that she's got this showmance, real or not. Rubbing it in Jasmine and Indy's face. But again, I think she's got to be careful because it's not as though she doesn't already have a huge target on her back. If a little jealousy comes into play, more jealousy, I think it may get even bigger. And sure enough, later we've got Indy saying that Taylor is taking Indy's best friend from the house that she has in the house. She's saying, I really need to win HOH. And I took that as meaning that she wants to win HOH so she can get Taylor booted out the door. But she's also saying that since Joseph has a showmance, or since Taylor has a showmance with Joseph, and that's her best friend, that she's starting to like Taylor a little bit better as a result. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on in Indy's mind. I don't know if that made Taylor a bigger target or lesser target. I guess time will tell. All right. We do have Taylor telling the girls that she won't put them on the block. Nah, y'all, I want the girls to the very end. I'm not putting y'all on the block. Well, she may not. She may start with Terrence, but eventually she's not going to hesitate to put them on the block. But that's what she's saying. And she's very much making it sound like to them that Monty's on the block, or Monty is her big target as well. Again, everyone the leftovers wants it to look like Monty's who they're going after. Try to make it look like there's a huge division within this alliance that the other side is kind of aware of to some degree. All right, we've got Jasmine talking a little bit, saying that Daniel is planning to blow up the games during his eviction speech. He's going to blow up the games of Monty and Brittany and probably Michael as well. So it may be a fun evening this evening. Now, the thing is, Daniel is so completely alone. He can say whatever he wants to try to blow up people's game. I don't think anyone's really going to take that much from it or get that upset about anything he says. Most of these secrets, I think, are already out there that Daniel knows. So I'm not too worried, but he's going to try as he heads out the door. All right. We've also got Jasmine later telling Indy how good it is that Joseph and Taylor are now a bit of a showmance, because now Joseph can get information from Taylor. The plan's working just like the leftovers wanted. So now she's thinking she's got an end to all of Taylor's deepest game thoughts and everything else. She's saying, yeah, as long as she's in a showmance with Joseph, we've got Taylor wrapped around our little finger. You may find out different later. She's also saying that Joseph doesn't want an on-camera showmance. So he actually has talked about the fact that maybe he'd like to get Taylor booted right now. Once I get in the jury house, yeah, maybe something happens, but Jasmine saying, yeah, he doesn't want to have a showmance on the camera, so he's ready to vote Taylor out the door as well. So much illusion taking place last night. All right, we've got Jasmine and Indy talking. Indy is saying that she's kind of figured out the way this game needs to wrap up, that she wants her final five to be her, Jasmine, Alyssa, Joseph, and Michael. Yeah, I could see those five. I could see why Indy would want those five as her final five. Whether she gets it or not, that's a whole different question. All right, we've got Kyle talking to Monty and Turner, saying that Indy is now suddenly Indy is starting to talk to Kyle very seriously now. Instead of just the bubbly, cheery Indy, that she's coming in like a drill sergeant, giving him orders now that she thinks Kyle is part of their little group and part of a new alliance that we're going to talk about in a second. So now that she thinks that Kyle is in with her, she's giving Kyle all kinds of marching orders. In fact, Kyle says, yeah, I was just told by Indy to get upstairs and talk to Turner and find out who his targets are if he gets HOH. So they work on what Turner's going to say with all of that. And with that being said, we've got Jasmine and Turner in the bathroom just a little bit later. Pretty long conversation between two people who really don't like each other, but they're both playing like they do in front of each other. We've got them talking to each other. Jasmine saying, Turner, first of all, is confirming that, yeah, he's voting out Daniel tonight. He's not going to try to keep keep Daniel or anything else. He's voting out Daniel. Jasmine saying that if tonight's HOH competition is indeed the wall competition, she's going to hang on that wall until blood is coming out of her fingernails, or until a minute or two has passed. Yeah, no, I just added the second part, but I think a minute or two may be pushing how long Jasmine is up on that wall. She's got an injured ankle, right? Right. So, yeah, but she's saying she'll be up on that wall as long as she needs to be to get the victory. Turner is saying his targets, if he was HOH, would be Michael and Brittany and Taylor. Again, they're pushing the fact there's this division. There's no big alliance. They all are going after each other. Turner asked Jasmine who she would put up if she was HOH, and she mentions Brittany and Monty. And this is exactly what the leftovers want. They want everyone thinking that they're going to go after Monty as much as possible, because they're thinking the besties may still exist. So it has a lot to do with that, which we don't need to get into right now. But anyway, she's saying Brittany and Monty. Turner's still a little bit nervous about this whole Muffin Gate, and is that going to create a bitter juror to the very end? So Turner finally comes out and says, "Hey, just so you know, I did eat half your cookie as just a joke, but I didn't eat that half a muffin to begin with. I'm standing by that. I'm just telling you." So he's kind of confessing to a little bit, hoping that she'll not suspect him of the rest. She still thinks he was behind it, which he was. All right, we've got Kyle and Alyssa making out in the HOH room. I just thought I'd throw that out there a little bit. We've got Brittany talking to the cameras. Brittany's talking to the camera, saying that the house asked her for another meditation session. She calls it meditation, not hypnosis, in front of everyone else, but she's happy that they asked her for one. She says she wasn't going to suggest it because she didn't think that was proper, but she's glad that they asked her. She's saying that she's only going to use hypnosis for positive reasons. She's not an evil hypnotist. She's not going to use hypnosis for bad, evil reasons. It's only for good. It sounded like the beginning of another Marvel Universe superhero, Dr. Brittany or something. But so she's ready to do a little more meditation with the guys, but only for good reasons. Not to talk him into saving her or anything like that. All right, we got a big group in the bathroom talking for a long time, all kinds of stuff I won't get into here. Some of it a little explicit and all of that, as we've seen past few nights. So big group talking in the bathroom. Later, we've got Jasmine and Indy in the Jetsons' bedroom. Jasmine is recounting to Indy the conversation that the two of them had. It was a good talk, great talk. She feels much better about everything else. She says that now Turner's talking about Michael and Monty getting split up, wants to have them split up. And Jasmine saying, I believe him. I absolutely believe him. I think he's telling the truth. Apparently these two are just not getting along, and that's our opportunity, right? And she also says that Turner will not put up her or Indy, Alyssa, or Kyle, that they should all be good going forward. Again, keep track of all those names because we got a little news here in just a second. All right, we got the two of them are talking about getting Monty out. Jasmine is saying that they need to get Alyssa and Kyle and Joseph on board, and then maybe they'll tell Terrence a little bit later. Indy's saying that Kyle said he wouldn't put him up if he wins HOH, so they feel safe with Turner. They feel safe with Kyle. They're trying to figure out who would go after him if they won HOH. Alyssa is also saying that Turner said he wouldn't put them up, but that he just wants to work with the house. That's all he wants to do, and that Turner feels like most of the house is going for Monty, and if that's the case, he's fine voting out Monty. Jasmine, and talking about who wouldn't put him up, Jasmine mentions the people that she is worried that would put her up if they got HOH would be Monty and Taylor and Brittany. Yeah, all three of them would probably put you up, Brittany. I wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, I keep teasing it, so let's just talk about it. We've got a new alliance, kind of an alliance, sort of an alliance, a fake alliance, but it is an alliance between Jasmine, Indy, Alyssa, Joseph, and Kyle. Two of the leftovers that have joined this alliance just for looks, for appearances. They're calling it the five swatters instead of fly swatters. Five swatters, get it? But again, this is the three girls with Joseph and Kyle. Joseph and Kyle aren't really part of this alliance. They're just doing it to keep the women comfortable and confident going forward. But they're all excited. They think they've got this new alliance of five that's going to run the house. All right, we're going to wrap it up here pretty quick. We've got Michael asking Jasmine if they're in a storage room, and it's kind of a weird conversation. She thought it was all about gameplay that he wanted to talk to her about. But Michael says, look, I just want to know, is there anything that's been happening that maybe is rubbing you ladies the wrong way, ways guys are referring to you, anything like that? Michael is so worried about social media and maybe this house this season getting dragged on social media. So he's trying to, I guess, confront it before it happens. So he's asking Jasmine. She's saying, yeah, no, I haven't really seen anything. He does mention that he's a little bit worried about Daniel's speech that he's heard or suspects that Daniel may call him out. So he's a little bit worried about that. Jasmine is talking to Michael and wondering if Brittany's still good with a plan to get at Monty next week. And Michael saying, yeah, we're on board. Yeah, we didn't do it this week. It was just too early. That mean we don't need to still make it happen. Wink, wink, wink. Jasmine is thinking about the stuff that happened to Taylor earlier in the season. She's saying, look, if I'd stepped in to defend Taylor, I was afraid other people maybe would think that I was working with Taylor, and I was afraid of doing that. I really regret some of the way things happened. I just didn't feel like I could step in. All right, I think there's a little revisionist history going on here, and she's still talking about getting Taylor wrapped around her finger and all that, but it is what it is. So she says that. All right, finally, at the end of the evening, we got Joseph and Taylor in the bathroom. They talk for a long time, a lot of whispers and everything else. But Joseph is saying that Alyssa had said to talk to Taylor to see about maybe adding her to the group, or at least getting information from her. Again, now that Taylor's with Joseph and they think Joseph is part of this new alliance, they're ready to maybe make Taylor an associate member. I think Joseph said something along the lines of, they don't really want you as a member. They just want to hold you tight and close for votes and for information, but kind of a member. You know what I mean? So Joseph's reporting that back to Taylor. Also saying that Alyssa really wants Taylor and Joseph to have a showmance, because she feels like it's going to take some pressure off of her. They've been hiding out in the have-not room, so it's not so obvious that they've got their showmance. So if there's another showmance, it makes theirs look less threatening. So Alyssa's all on board with the two of them with their foamance as well. Joseph finally also says that they are really thinking that Taylor and Turner are the floaters in the game right now, that they'll go to whichever group has the power. So they're not really looking at her as a solid member of this alliance, even though they talked before about her being part of it. They think she's just floating, and that they could bring her in as well. So there you have it, guys. The key to the whole evening: a foamance between Taylor and Joseph that's being used just to make the other side think that they're getting information out of Taylor, just to further some illusions on what that side thinks going to happen going forward, just to hide the fact that this leftovers alliance is still in place. How long can the leftovers last? I really am amazed that they're keeping it up as long as they have. I still think it's a short-term deal, but they're keeping it hidden from the other side with this fake showmance, which maybe we'll see. As much time as Taylor and Joseph are spending it together, I still could see it maybe turning into something a little bit more. We'll find out. All right. Eviction tonight, wall competition. Oh, I hope we get the wall competition on the live feed so we can watch it play out. Here's to hoping. But either way, we should know in the morning who the new HOH is. And once we know that, all these plans are going to start coming into play. It's going to be an exciting next 24 hours, or at least once HOH takes place. From that point on, it's going to be pretty exciting. Until then, a little slow, but that's all right. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Thursday. I will be back tomorrow morning to talk all about the eviction, Daniel's speech, HOH. It's going to be a fun one. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.